So volume 5 ends with them practicing for their wedding kiss. And the 6th one starts with the same scene, except here Rishi had realized that her feelings for Arnold are actually love. So the kisses they shared on the roof of the opera house lasted several seconds, but it felt like it was over in an instant. Arnold's lips slowly pulled away from hers, and Rishi let out a heated sigh, already missing his touch. She murmured his name, and instead of answering her with words, Arnold intertwined their fingers once more. The gesture seemed to say, "I'm here, I won't let you go." She nearly burst into tears. "I love him, I love Prince Arnold." Rishi confirmed the feelings she'd only just become aware of. I think she fell in love with him a long time ago, but it happened so naturally that she didn't even notice it. After a few seconds, he tilted her chin, kissing her again. He pulled back just as quickly, but then he kissed her again, just another quick peck. He did it again and again until Rishi's eyes widened. She was about to yelp, but he sealed her lips, but only for a moment. She wanted to push him away, afraid he could hear the loud beating of her heart, but Arnold won't let her go. He had to know how flustered she was, yet he showed no signs of stopping. She'd been short of breath for some time now, and she got the feeling her poor lungs were at their limit. It didn't help that her neck had been craned back this whole time. She slapped at his chest gently, but he didn't budge. He just continued. She just realized how she felt about him a few minutes ago, so all this probably felt like torture to her. "My heart is going to explode," she thought and gripped Arnold's shirt, somehow managing to look up at him in the split seconds their lips were apart. But she quickly regretted it, because when their gaze locked, a sharp sparkle lit up his blue eyes. That sight was so beautiful that tear welled up in her eyes once more. Still, her wordless plea seemed to have an effect, as he finally loosened his grip on her. But before he let her go, he dropped one last kiss on her forehead. "Prince Arnold," she whined, wondering just why he had kissed her so many times. But when he fixed her with a gentle, protective gaze, she gulped, and he asked, "Have you memorized it yet?" Rishi didn't understand what he meant. He pressed his thumb to Rishi's lips. "I promise I would kiss you as many times as you wish." Finally, Rishi remembers that she's the one who asked him to kiss her as her birthday present, just so she could learn how to do it for their wedding. And that was what he'd said in response. The beautiful torture of kisses just now had been him granting her request, her cheeks reddening more every second, but she'd managed to say that she had memorized it, bobbing her head emphatically. Arnold chuckled, then reached out to stroke her hairs. "Good then," he said, and she thought, how could a voice this sweet pluck her heartstrings like that? Then he cupped her cheek and murmured, "It doesn't matter whether it's your birthday. I want to do everything in my power to grant your wishes. Don't ever forget that." His words were definitely ones of celebration. After all, he was celebrating her birthday, the one day she used to hate, but now she couldn't believe how happy she was. "Thank you, Prince Arnold," she said, and he pulled his hand away and guided her back to the bench on the roof. "I'll get our carriage ready. Wait here." With that, he headed downstairs. When she couldn't see him any longer, Rishi sank onto the bench, exhausted. Everywhere he touched her was burning hot. She wanted to cherish the memory of her name on his lips and those lips on hers, but her heart hurts each time she thought back to it. What am I going to do? She held her scarlet cheeks, murmuring, completely at loss. I didn't figure out how to kiss him at all. I don't know why I chuckled at this part. It was so unfortunate for her because the wedding was like in 2 weeks. So her 16th birthday came and went for the 7th time. The next day she sat on her couch, staring out the window with a schedule of ships in hand. As her wedding was closing in, there was work that awaited her, but her mind was consumed by one thought. I'm in love with Prince Arnold. Every time the thought struck, it flustered her. Her maids, worried by her days, checked in repeatedly, only to receive vague reassurances. But one thing was clear. She wasn't imagining the pain in her chest when she thought of him. She replayed memories, the kiss on her hair after the Emperor saw them, the argument in Windbridge, the moment he laid on her lap at the Basilica, the sadness when he told her that she didn't need to wear his ring. Even their first kiss at the chapel, only weeks after they had met, hadn't upset her. She simply wanted to understand why he did that. And then there were the kisses on her birthday. No matter how far back she looked, she couldn't remember not loving him. Was I the one who fell at first sight? She thought, and her heart swelled despite the embarrassment. But then she gets upset and hangs her head after remembering this scene. It stings her even more now, but she needed to stop this war. Not just stop it, she needed to understand his future self. She thought that the man she loved and the brutal emperor are the same. Despite their seeming differences, the cruel emperor Arnold held all the qualities as the current Arnold. The way he thinks, his practicality, and the kindness he so clearly displayed. Rishi slowly closed her eyes and squeezed the schedule in her hands. It's because I care so deeply for him that I must avoid that future. She swore before opening her eyes once more. His father is most likely the key for all this, but approaching him was terrifying, especially after their last encounter. Then a knock interrupted her thoughts. It was Elise, her maid. Rishi instantly apologizes for making them worry. She wasn't ill, just overwhelmed by the feeling she couldn't admit. Then Elise handed her a letter. Rishi read it, and it was exactly the one she'd been waiting for. "What is it, Lady Rishi?" Elise asked, and Rishi told her to pack a bag, saying that she'll be gone for a few more days. Elise reminded her that her wedding was in just 2 weeks, but Rishi said that she needed to go on this outing before the wedding. Then she thinks that was no problem. She planned for this delay, but for her plan to work, she needed to speak with him. So she braced herself because her next move was going to see the man she just realized she was in love with. Now, as she stood across from Arnold, she gave him the news. Her skirt clenched in her fingers. The news was about the delay with her wedding dress. "It was made when I came of age, but I had it embroidered in Galkin style," she says, and he remembers which one she was talking about. As he asked, "The one that was wide open in the back?" She just showed him the design once, but he even remembers the detail. It was so cute that he notices and remembers everything that involves her. He just keeps proving that he's the greenest green flag. To Rishi, the thought gave her a ticklish feeling, and when she locked eyes with Arnold, she hurriedly looked away and went on explaining that the dressmaker was supposed to come for a final fitting, but he couldn't get the thread she requested. That's why she thinks it's better if she goes to him. We know she planned all this as her merchant life had taught her exactly when that thread would be hard to get. So she made this plan as a perfect excuse to visit Bersertoria, Galkine's main port. But she didn't just want it to visit, she wanted to stay there for a few days. Arnold's expression didn't change, but Rishi could predict his next words. Setting his chin in his hand, he made his declaration like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "I'll accompany you," he said. Like always, he must have his own reasons, she thought. Still, she felt guilty, so she asked, "Prince Arnold, aren't you busy?" In response, he just called out his attendant's name, who instantly said, "Of course, my lord, I'll make the arrangements." "Not you too, Oliver," Rishi cried, flustered. The attendant had responded as though he knew exactly what Arnold wished for. "We can take a ship part of the way to Bersertoria. It should only take 2 days or so," Arnold informed, and Oliver offered an idea while smiling widely. "How about we call it a pre-wedding getaway?" Rishi jolted at his suggestion. "It seems prudent. It will also stimulate Bersertoria's economy," he added. Rishi turns to her future husband and asks, "What do you think, Prince Arnold?" He replied honestly, saying that he didn't care about whatever they call it, but his gaze softened as they landed on her. "You're not protesting?" he asked. Rishi flinched again. "Let me know if you're unhappy," he said softly. "I'm not," she murmured. The phrase embarrassed her, "but I want to have a pre-wedding getaway with you, Prince Arnold," she said. His eyes narrowed slightly. Mostly royal marriages were for solidifying positions and getting advantages in return. So Rishi said, "I'm nothing more than a duke's daughter from a small nation. I can't imagine how my status benefits Prince Arnold in any way." To which Oliver said, "You misunderstand. The benefit is entirely due to you as an individual." Rishi gets confused and glanced over at Arnold, who seems to agree with Oliver. "True enough," he said. "The coils exchange, the minting with Siegel, all progressing smoothly thanks to you. And your wedding is drawing international attention. Even the next archbishop is attending," Oliver adds. "You're giving me too much credit," Rishi protested. "People admire the nail polish you invented, and the Arya trading companies work in the slums. Even those disinterested in politics are excited. Sylvia herself will sing at the ceremony." Rishi blinked. It wasn't news to her, but Sylvia had insisted on performing to thank them. "My lord's relationship with Prince Theodore improved because of you. Many nobles admire you." He listed everything that makes Rishi a wonderful person. "You overestimate me entirely," Rishi said. She was shocked because she had no idea she attracted so much attention. Then she looked at at Arnold for help and found him smiling in satisfaction. Let them look, a little attention won't hurt. You're making fun of me, aren't you? She replied. However, she couldn't dwell on this. For now, she had to concentrate on stopping the war, which she knew would happen, but predicting its detail was nearly impossible. She didn't know what had led him to war in all her past lives. And secondly, Galkian's army had acted differently each time. And the third reason might be her. As she stood on the ship's deck, canal water gliding beneath her, Rishi reflected that in every past life she had shaped travel routes, whether as a merchant, apothecary, maid, or even knight. And each time Galkian's army used those exact same paths for war. Without knowing it, I helped him before I even met him, she thought and sighed. She knew Arnold wouldn't start a war without a reason. There must be something deeper. Even the act of killing his father must have a purpose. And we kind of have a rough idea about what it could be, but there's nothing confirmed yet. She was lost in her thoughts when someone called her name. She jumped and swung around. Arnold stood there holding her hat. "You forgot this," he said, placing it on her head. She adjusted it and smiled, complimenting the canal beneath them. "We're almost at the harbor. I've arranged for a carriage, but I don't mind if you want to walk to the hotel," he said. In that case, she wanted to take the beautiful routes. That way they could stop by as many places as possible. Rishi's eyes sparkled at the thought. Arnold watched her for a few moments, full of tenderness. "So you weren't feeling unwell?" he remarked. "Unwell? No, I'm bursting with energy," she replies. "Good," he says, but Rishi didn't understand, so he ran his finger through her windswept hairs, saying, "You've been somewhat on edge since I fulfilled that request of yours on your birthday." Remembering that, Rishi could tell she was going red up to her ears. "That's because of all the kisses we shared that day, and because I realized my feelings for you," she replied in her head. I love how if Rishi was even the least bit out of sort, Arnold would notice it immediately. But right now she didn't have the courage to explain the reasons for her behavior. So she reached for Arnold's sleeves, held it and asked, "Can we stay like this for a bit longer?" Arnold frowned and asked for a reason. She says that she has some secret training that she needs to do. Yes, training to handle standing next to the man I love, she thought, and he sighed, saying, "Do as you like." She thanks him and clung to his sleeve because she wasn't ready to hold hands with him yet. But if she maintained this distance for a while, surely she'll get used to his presence at some point. Still frowning, Arnold glanced at the ship passing by. It appears to be two-level vessel like their own, though it was a size smaller. The sailors were cleverly using the ship's sails to move upstream. They both thought of the same thing at the same time and started examining a piece of cargo left on the deck. It was a large burlap sack with a very unique shape. It had to be something other than a box or a liquid container. Then it hits her. It can't be, she thought. The moment Rishi confirmed her suspicion, the bag wiggled. "I knew it. It's a person." As soon as the bag moved, Arnold said, "Stay here." His sleeve left Rishi's grip and he climbed the railing before leaping onto the other ship without a moment's hesitation. She called behind him, but he had landed. One of the sailors on the deck yelled, asking what he was doing there. "Stop the ship," Arnold commanded and pointed his sword at him. The sailor turned on his heel and ran down the stairs to the lower deck. Arnold clicked his tongue and turned back to the supposed cargo. He'd chosen to remain instead of pursuing the sailor because Rishi had already followed him onto the ship. Arnold sighed as he watched Rishi frantically untie the cord, keeping the bag close. "Rishi," he called her. "Leave this to me, Prince Arnold. Please do whatever you wish to do." She responds back, but he says, "Don't jump onto a ship with thieves on it like it's completely normal, with only a dagger for self-defense." Rishi realized her mistake, and Arnold removed the sword from his waist and tossed it to Rishi. "Won't you be in trouble if I borrow this sword, Your Highness?" she asked, and he said that he would procure it from below the deck. Rishi drew Arnold's sword and cut the bag's cord with its black blade. She hurried to open the bag and a woman emerged from inside. Her face was wet with tears, her arms and legs were bound, and she had a gag in her mouth. When she saw Rishi, her face crumpled. "Don't worry, you're safe now," Rishi said. After cutting the woman's binding and moving the gag, relief washed over the woman's face, and then she passed out. She's not dehydrated. She doesn't appear gravely injured, but the way she lost consciousness, has she been given some sort of sleeping drugs? Rishi thought. There were several other sacks on deck. Rishi hesitantly cut the cords of every one of them and finds unconscious women inside each one. There must be more below, she thought, and rushed below deck. deck and arrived just as Arnold fought off sailors with fluid, brutal efficiency. Just as he spotted her, he asked her to go to the back. So she ran to a locked door and found 5 more captive women. Most were fine, though frightened. One, however, a tall redhead, lay unconscious. As Rishi turned her over, she froze, because she knew that face. What are you doing here? No, I'm not surprised you're in town. In fact, one of the reasons I came was to meet you. But how did this happen? There were several questions in her mind, but she could figure it all out later. Right now, she needed to wake her up, so she slapped the woman's cheek, remembering how she would have spoken to her in her old life. It's time to get up. Wake up. It's morning, she says. Morning, comes the woman's sleepy voice. Her brown eyes peered blurredly at Rishi as she rose with a yawn. Are we in Galkine already? We're not. I would have loved to hear more regarding whatever that's about, but first I need to know how you're feeling. Are you hurt? Do you feel nauseated? Does anything else feel off? Rishi questioned her, and her only reply was no. I was just so bored while captured that I got sleepy. Rishi thought that this person was the same as always. Just then they heard the pounding of rapid footsteps. That black-haired guy is a monster, one of the sailors shouted, referring to Arnold. Another one shouted, stay away from him, abandon the ship. Everybody scatter and run, leave the cargo. Rishi frowned. Even Prince Arnold couldn't take on several enemies running in different directions. She reached under her dress and drew out the dagger attached to her thighs. Then she asked the sleepy woman, you're not hurt, you were just sleeping because you were tired, correct? Here then, take this. When Rishi handed her the dagger, the woman took it unwillingly. Hey, wait a second, you. She began, but Rishi sprang to her feet, saying, I'm going to help the man outside. She ran out of the cabin and took down a sailor mid-swing with ease. Then 2 men slipped into the cabin below, trying to take at least one of the women. Arnold tried to reach them, but Rishi stops him and says that it's okay. And when they finally did reach the inside of the cabin, there stood the redhead, calm and irritated, and those 2 men lay unconscious at her feet. This dress is in the way, the supposed lady muttered, ripping off the wig and revealing short curly hairs. That's Arnold began. Yep, it's as you suspect, Prince Arnold. The long-haired wig slid to the ground. This woman snuck in among the others, but she appears to be a man, and that listless man yawned, saying, I'm sleepy, as he rubbed his half-closed, deep-set eyes framed by long lashes. He's same as always. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Rishi thought again. At this point, he would be 17 years old, Rishi's senior by 1 year. His name was Joel. Rishi had roomed with him all throughout her 6th life as a knight. Arnold observed the man quietly, having deduced as much himself. That's the genius swordman of the island nation of Siarga. In Rishi's 6th life, he had died protecting her from Prince Arnold. That man's golden brown eyes slid over to Arnold. He only asked, what's your relationship with the pink-haired girl behind you? When Arnold said nothing, he said, whatever, I'm just so sleepy, and collapsed on the floor, snoring softly. He might have been drugged, Rishi said. Let's drop anchor. We need to make sure everyone's safe. She had no time to reflect on how she'd just reunited with the very person she came to find. Okay, now here's a little flashback about Joel and Rishi from her 6th life as Lucius Alcott, a knight for Siarga. And it's very comical how she becomes one, not because she planned to, but because fate shoved it into her. As her ship was attacked en route to an island nation, one of them turns out to be the king of Siarga in disguise, who offered her a knighthood on the spot. I'd love to, Rishi had said, bright-eyed as if joining the knights was on her bucket list. And the knight's commander, who had been guarding the king, had already figured out her secret, that she was a woman, and chose Joel as her roommate because he really didn't care much. The moment the door opened, Rishi's eyes flew just as wide. The person inside, not quite a boy, but not yet a man, lay on the stone floor with his eyes closed. Rishi dashed over to him right away. Please respond if you can hear my voice. Are you hurt? He opened his eyes just a tad, patting the floor and grumbling, this bed is so hard. That's when the commander said, apologetically, I apologize for the fright, but he's only sleeping. Get used to this. I'm sure you'll be seeing it every day from now on. Rishi looked confused. I hope you can take care of Joel for us, the commander said and left the room. Everything about Rishi, especially the way she joined the knights, was abnormal. Yet when Joel finally woke up and the two got to talk, talking, their exchange went like, "It's nice to meet you, Joel. You might think it's strange that I joined the night so suddenly and that I'm rooming with you, but I promise I'm no one suspicious. My name is Lucius Alcott," Rishe explained, and all he said was, "Whatever, that's fine," showing no interest in her whatsoever. Then he yawned and said, "You don't have to introduce yourself to me. It's not like I'm going to remember your name. Any time I'd spend with you, I'd rather spend sleeping or playing with the sword. You could do whatever you want, just don't get in the way of my sleep, okay?" And that's how their roommate relationship began. And the first time she had called him for dinner, he had said, "Don't need it. In fact, you don't even need to talk to me. Let's have nothing to do with one another, shall we?" Rishe was dumbfounded at how he was. He only did two things, sleeping and wielding a sword. But he was never on the night watch. He wasn't even hungry most days. He just existed like that. And Rishe, who had once been an apothecary, couldn't just ignore him. So from there, Rishe made it her mission to improve his routine. Every morning she'd say, "Good morning, Joe. Time to wake up for the training." And he'd reply with, "Nope, not doing, need sleep." But one day when she finally managed real conversation instead of sleep mumbles, that's when she launched her phase 2. "How about a sparring match today?" she asked. "You wanna spar?" He actually woke up and replied. So since that day, Rishe thought of going with that strategy. But after a while, Joel grumbled that she fought like a mercenary, or maybe an archer or a hunter, not like a knight. But after some time, he agreed to train her. Rishe thought that one time out of the 4 was still a win. Thanks to him, Rishi's sword skills improved a lot, and gradually Joel changed as well, though he still barely remembers her name. But one day when they were eating together, he looked at her and said, "You've gotten decently strong lately, haven't you?" Rishe nearly dropped her stew. Then he started joining her at meals if she dragged him there. He even began to act like a mentor to her, a title he took very seriously. And that's how their relationship grew into something oddly precious. Joel, usually sleepy and distant, slowly opened up to her, and at some point he started calling her Liu for the simple reason that saying Lucius every time was a pain. There was also this one time when Rishe was invited to a party with another squad. He asked her to sleep in their own room and not another one, since it would be dangerous. "Dangerous? Aren't you worried that I'll disturb your sleep when I arrive in the middle of the night?" Rishe asked. "Either way, you have to come back. If you don't, there will be no one to wake me up in the morning." Joel said, "I can't believe he's more worried about me than his sleep." Rishe thought she was genuinely so touched that she wondered if he had figured out that she was a girl, but his actions never really crossed any lines. Then there was this time when she'd only had a potato with salt for dinner, as she was late and the dining hall had already closed. He literally makes a whole meal for her from scratch. Another time he joined her on a trip, making an excuse that if she's not there, who's gonna wake him up in the morning? Some other time he had also said that if they change room assignments, they're still sharing a room together, saying that it's not a bad trait that she woke him up and he teach her to wield a sword. Eventually, Rishe reached the second year of her 6th loop, and one day Joel sleepily said to her, "You know how you mentioned Galkian's movements seemed suspicious lately? It turns out you were right." His expression seemed slightly more serious than usual. Galkian's crown prince had killed his father and had taken the throne. Back then, all Rishe could think was, so this life won't be any different. Now I know for a fact that the war won't happen in this life of Rishe because she is with the Crown Prince of Galkine, Prince Arnold, the guy who started war in all her previous lives. But I do wonder how the author is going to end this novel. Alright, that was it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.